panel de lo que se va a hablar.
Okay, we're on?
No?
No.
Now you are.
We're on.
Yes.
Okay, hello to the audience of Terra Madre 2022. We're in the portal. This is the second day of the festival. Today we have a very special panel, one that was put together with, I would say, people that are at the crossroads of food security, environmental justice, climate change, and helping farmers also with native planting. And we're going to introduce the panel so that you know who's who. And we're going to start with Ismael, who's here in the portal, who flew in from Mexico. And I'm going to let Dali introduce herself and Ismael.
Okay.
And we're going to be doing translation between Spanish and English throughout the course of this session.
Muy bien, pues muchas gracias por invitarnos. Mi nombre es Dali Nolasco Cruz, soy miembro del Comité Ejecutivo de Slow Food.
Thanks for the invitation. Her name is Dali Nolasco Cruz, and she's a member of the board of Slow Food.
Para nosotros era muy importante traer este tema en el Terra Madre porque para Slow Food todo lo que está vinculado con la alimentación es muy importante, pero también la violación de los derechos humanos y la protección de la tierra es una de nuestras prioridades.
So for them it was important to bring the subject to Terra Madre to give visibility to the human, not only human rights, but diversity and the defense of the territory.
Sabemos que en el mundo hay muchas violaciones a los derechos humanos a través del acaparamiento de tierras para usos extractivistas.
Okay, we know that there's a lot of land grabbing in the world, and that is causing, that is affecting for economical purpose, and that is affecting the people.
Okay. Y hay muchas problemáticas en el mundo que no se hablan, pero que creemos que es súper importante que la gente sepa, porque los defensores como los que hoy vamos a escuchar necesitan del apoyo de todo el mundo para defender su territorio.
Some of these problems are not being talked about, and we need to talk about them and meet the people, meet the activists, so we can somehow help them and give them the voice, the visibility.
Y cuando hablamos desde Slow Food, cuando hablamos de alimentos, también hablamos de todo un territorio y toda su riqueza de la biodiversidad, tanto y cómo estos problemas de acaparamientos de tierras que están fuertemente vinculados con los intereses de terceros y sobre todo del sistema político y económico, cómo trastoca las realidades de las comunidades y que al final también afecta todo un sistema y por ende también sus sistemas alimentarios.
So when we talk about food, we also talk about the territory and the people within. So when the land grabbing happens, it affects the people and their food system, their food security. And this land grabbing is always for third-party interest and not to benefit the people that live in that territory.
Sí, así que hoy queremos invitar a toda la audiencia a que escuche estas historias de lucha de líderes comunitarios que están en la defensa de su territorio y que también implica un riesgo de vida para ellos porque atentan contra intereses muy grandes porque esos intereses están en nuestro territorio por fines al final económicos y entonces es importante que los escuchemos para que nos unamos a la defensa también de su territorio independientemente de que si vivimos ahí o no vivimos ahí.
So we're inviting everybody today to listen to the story of these activists, of the leaders of their communities, and to join them and support them, even if we don't live nearby their communities or even their countries.
Okay, así que quiero presentarles a Ismael. Él es indígena náhuatl de México Él nos va a contar su historia, cómo está defendiendo su bosque en su comunidad, así que le doy la palabra si quieres presentarte y contarnos sobre tu lucha.
So here is Ismael. Ismael is from indigenous people from the Nahuas in Mexico, and he's defending his territory. Sometimes it also involves risk for his life, and he's here today in Terra Madre to talk about it.
Balitona neni toca Ismael neni shanti Tlaxcala Matlacueyet. Hola, buenos días, mi nombre es Ismael Bello Cervantes, vengo de México, en la zona indígena Nahua de la Matlalcueyet, que es nuestra madre la montaña. Y bueno, nosotros allá hemos vivido pues por más de 500 años antes de que llegaran los conquistadores españoles a nuestro territorio. Y pues allá siempre con nuestros abuelos hemos vivido pues en reciprocidad con la montaña, Ah, perdón. Ay. Perdón.
So, the first part of what he said was in his native language, and it was his way of saying hello to everybody. His people see the mountain of as the mother mountain, and they have been living there for 500 years, and they live in reciprocity with the resources of the mountain.
Perdón. Entonces nosotros con la montaña, nosotros siempre nos hemos considerado uno con el bosque. En 1938 nuestra montaña fue declarada Parque Nacional por el gobierno, pero nunca consultaron a nuestros abuelos.
So in 1938, that forest, that mountain, became a national park. The government decided and didn't ask the people who live there, did not consider them, and they consider themselves one with the mountain.
Entonces desde ese año empezó una separación por parte del gobierno de nuestra relación con la montaña, ¿no? Porque ellos no entienden esa relación. Entonces se nos prohibían hacer muchas cosas que nosotros hemos hecho desde siempre en la montaña. Eso no había afectado no había afectado tanto hasta estos años, hasta el 2019.
That led to the government not understanding that they are part of the mountain, and so they're seen as separated from it, from their territory. So some of the things they have been doing for 500 years, they're not allowed to do in their own territory.
Debido al cambio climático, al aumento de temperatura, en los bosques pues siempre han existido estos animalitos, esta flora y la fauna nativa, y nosotros convivimos con ellos, sabemos que tienen funciones específicas que a lo mejor no nos ayudan. Algunos hongos no usamos nosotros, pero el bosque los necesita, así como algunos animales, insectos, pero con el aumento de temperatura, uno de los insectos que habitan el bosque se convirtió en plaga.
So they know and they're aware that the biodiversity in the mountain always also includes animals and fungi, and one of these animals and insects became a plague with the climate change.
Entonces se empezó este insecto que se llama gusano descortezador, empezó a comer los árboles y se empezaron a secar. Se convirtió en una plaga y nosotros los reportamos al gobierno para poder salvar solo 3 hectáreas que estaban afectadas. Pero el gobierno, al ser parque nacional, no nos permitió hacer, a través de nuestra forma de ver el mundo, pues, salvar a la montaña. Y entonces ahora tenemos más de 5,000 hectáreas de bosque afectado.
So, 3 hectares.
De 3 empezamos.
One of these worms became a plague that started to kill the trees. So they asked the government to contain it within 3 hectares, but they decided not to. They ignored them because it's a national park, and it ended up affecting 5,000 hectares.
ahora el gobierno quiso sanar al bosque, entre comillas, pero viéndolo desde un sentido económico, para extraer, para explotar la montaña y ellos pues generar riqueza a través de empresas.
So the healing of the government, their solution was to use this as a benefit, as an economical benefit, by selling the wood. That now, using this worm as an excuse to sell the material.
Y ahí fue cuando empezó la verdadera lucha, o la lucha, bueno, siempre ha sido una lucha verdadera, pero una lucha incluso hasta física, donde tenemos que arriesgar nuestras vidas por cuidar nuestra montaña. Nosotros empezamos ahí a detener al gobierno, a detener empresas, porque es nuestra vida y sí lo queremos hacer, pero a través de una conexión con la madre para que se pueda regenerar.
So that's when their real struggle began, and a struggle that has led them to feel in risk and to be in actual risk of their own lives, with the struggle with the government and struggle with some of these companies, because they want to do it in a way, they want to heal the woods, the forest in a way that is one again with them.
Y que el dinero, sí esos árboles se tienen que derribar desafortunadamente, pero que ese dinero que se usa vendiendo esa madera muerta, volverlo a aplicar a la montaña con acciones de regeneración del medio ambiente, para que ese bosque nosotros ya no lo vamos a volver a ver, nos vamos a morir, pero nuestros hijos lo tienen que seguir disfrutando y cuidando como nuestros abuelos nos los heredaron a nosotros. Entonces, eso al gobierno no le gustó y empezó una criminalización hacia nosotros, hacia nuestras comunidades.
So they want these trees. Sadly, they have to be cut because they are dying. However, if the wood is going to be sold, they want this money to be reinvested in the regeneration of the forest, and it's not happening. So they want to leave the forest for the next generations. They want to regenerate it for them.
Y a raíz de esta resistencia ante las empresas privadas, ante el gobierno, se nos ha acusado de actos violentos en contra del gobierno. Nosotros nos regimos por usos y costumbres, y en nuestro pueblo hubo un linchamiento hacia una persona que robó en la comunidad, que es...
What the government has done is turned them into, it's criminalizing, it's turned them into criminals to the eyes of everybody else, accusing them to enact as criminals against the government. And recently this year there was a lynching within the community.
Y acusaron a nuestros dos líderes comunitarios de haber asesinado a esa persona, pero ellos no lo hicieron y ahora están en la cárcel.
So the person that lost his life in the community was someone that was trying to rob the community, was fed up, and this happened, and the government is accusing two of the indigenous leaders that were in the forefront of the struggle to defend the forest.
Y ahora sabemos que, y lo ha dicho a escondidas el gobierno, que fue no sé cómo decirlo, fue una forma de intimidación para poner un alto a las comunidades que rodeamos la montaña para que no la defendamos.
So they're using this thing that happened as an intimidation, as a form of intimidation, so they stopped defending the forest.
Entonces nosotros estamos aquí precisamente por eso, porque nunca pensamos que a raíz de cuidar a la madre naturaleza, que es la que nos da todo, fuéramos a terminar con presos políticos y que nos golpearan los policías y que todo nos arrastrara a esta, a esta pues, defensa del territorio tan violenta, ¿no?
They never thought that defending their territory and defending Mother Nature would end up in people in their community in jail and actually physical struggles and getting hit by the police.
Es un contexto.
That is the context of his
Que
struggle.
no solo están destruyendo un bosque, sino están destruyendo
Ah.
todo un sistema
Sí.
comunitario.
Sí, nosotros, pues como decíamos, somos uno, ¿no? Si no hay naturaleza, no hay cultura, porque nuestra cultura se basa en la naturaleza y la naturaleza es la que nos da generar esas creencias, esa cosmovisión, peticiones de lluvias, el bosque no nada más son árboles, ¿no? Son hongos, son animales, son cosas que nosotros usamos para nuestra cultura diaria. Entonces, esto va mucho a un trasfondo, no queremos convertirnos en una ciudad o en un barrio, queremos seguir estando ahí en la tierra, ¿no?
This is not just a territory, is the way of living, is their culture, is what they do within the forest. It's the mushrooms. They have 52 types of edible mushrooms. It's their relationship with the land.
I think this is where, when I found out from Dali about Ismael's story and fight and activism, the question was really, how do we bring this story to the world, and how do we make it resonate with other people leading the same fights, where, as you just described, one forest is going to metaphorize so much human life, natural life, tradition, culture, farming, that are basically being threatened because of political power and economical priorities, when obviously the regeneration needs to happen across all sectors of what that forest life really interacts with.
¿Cómo se lleva esta lucha a la gente? ¿Cómo que resuene? Y bueno, poniéndonos ustedes también en contacto con otros activistas.
So I have met Druhba a couple years ago in Assam, India, after reading a story about him in Harper's Magazine. And this was my first time hearing about a national conflict in India called the human-elephant conflict. And Druhba, based in Assam, has been more specifically raising the awareness around the human-elephant conflict and all the aftermath of that conflict, but following a herd of elephants that have organized themselves, and now how many elephants? Over 200 in the herd. It's a big herd. And I'm going to let Druhba tell us more about your story, about your work, your activism, and how it connects with farming and farmers, how it connects with biodiversity, how it connects with ecotourism as well. So why don't you tell us a little more about yourself, Druhba?
Thank you, Martin, and I'm so happy to be with you today. Thank you again for giving such a platform to talk and interact to Terra Medra. This is even first time I came to know about from Martin actually, and I did some research, and it is my pleasure and to join this for providing me this opportunity. So I would like to tell you about this story, what I am doing, but before how I get into this, I would like to tell you about that. Like, in 2001 to 2003, five wild elephants died in my area near my house, and it was all 4 of them were electrocuted and one was poisoned. So that was the time when I thought, like, we have to do something. As a person living in the same space, sharing the same space, we have to do something about this problem. And then I got a chance to work with a big conservation agency, and then that's how I started working for the conservation of biodiversity, especially elephant in this in this area. So I would like to tell you about this. Uh,
We're gonna translate this bit, but also there's a speaker. I'm sure everybody's hearing it, including
Yes.
the audience online.
O si apagan el micro y nos traduces así.
Even if we turn out the mic, so I can try to do more simultaneous translation, or
Sure, but you want to do some simultaneous? Why don't you sit here?
yes,
If you
yes,
want
I
to.
can.
Sí, para que él no
We're gonna
pueda-
try this.
Sí, sí.
This is
Okay.
like a living room. This is not a traditional panel. Go.
Well, I'll start with
She's gonna give the little
yes,
intro
a little
first.
bit of a context. You said 2012, right? The
2001 to 2003. That is when I.
The
Yeah.
first.
Los primeros elefantes murieron entre 5 elefantes entre 2001 y 2003 que fueron cerca de su casa y acá comenzó el movimiento. Okay, now we
Okay.
can go on. I'll try to do it simultaneously.
Yeah. So then, since then, I'm working for this particular cause. I'm trying to help the species as much as I can, as an individual, as well as an. I'm also doing many things on behalf of many other organizations, world leading conservation agencies. So that's what, and I would like to tell about this place, like especially where I am living. We are sitting on a place which is like which is a uh, which is the junction of two plates, like the Indian plates and the other tectonic plates. So this place where I live is like a lot of changes. I mean, naturally, this place is full of biodiversity, as well as it's a place where we observe many natural changes during. I mean, during a year we can change a lot of natural changes in our area. So this area is very fragile, and this part is also known as the Eastern Himalayan region, and the biodiversity is also very I mean rich. We have many things like rhinos and elephants and tigers and clouded leopard, snow leopard, everything we have. So I am working with the community to protect some of the remaining habitats of these majestic, I mean, animals like elephants and snow leopard, and also other species, smaller or greater. So that's what I am trying to do, and as well as I am trying to. I mean, this place is the people mostly who lives here are dependent on agriculture, and uh, a lot of people, uh, you know. Uh, suffer from I mean, animal as well as due to natural disasters. So that is my now we are working to restore some of the degraded habitats, as well as trying to fight with the climate change, and trying to help to resolve the conflict between some of the species, particularly elephant. And that's how I'm working, and that's my briefing.
Yeah.
I mean,
One aspect that I found fascinating and tragic when we first met, which for me was a new way of entering the conversation about the climate crisis, is the relationship between the elephant, what the elephant represents in your communities and in your spirituality, and how that enters in conflict when the human elephant conflict is happening, how that resonates for people of your community and the Indians. That dimension of elephants invading their villages to eat their crops, that to me was really a very unique situation. Can you tell us a bit about the relationship between the farmers and the elephants that are homeless and that are trying to simply eat and find food?
right. So that situation here is like that elephant herd you were talking about. I mean, I'm also following the same elephant herd. They lost their home. I mean, they lost their forest due to pressure, agricultural pressure, or population pressure, and they settled in an in a river bed. I mean, literally, they are living in a river now. So they often have to not only has to cope with their food crisis and their habitat, and also has to deal with the increasing floods. So that's how the elephant the I mean the hard the elephants are I mean uh, that is the situation for the elephant as well as for the people. People are also suffering now. The changes due to increasing rainfall and unpredicted rainfall has created a lot of problem for the farmers, and they are dealing with the dealing to grow more in a small pitch plot of their land. And the elephant is also causing not only the climate change, but elephant is also causing a lot of damage for their crops. So actually people here culturally we have a good relation, and the religious significance of elephant is also very significant in our culture, or within our people. But the new situation, this crisis, this competition for the resources has put us in a situation where we have to, people has to confront people, and the elephant as well. They are comforting each other. They are fighting with each other, although they don't want. So that's the situation here.
Right. I'm curious, Dali, to understand maybe from Ismael's perspective and also from Druhba. We know what kind of activism this involves personally with the communities, and to basically protect the forest, protect the communities, and look at regeneration. What kind of support do they need, Druhba and Ismael, today to continue the fight? I'm curious to know what can help them today move on with the activism that they're leading.
Ok, desde el punto de vista de la regeneración, el saber qué es lo que ellos necesitan para moverse, para seguir adelante con las causas que llevan.
Creo que desde esta regeneración que todos estamos buscando, es muy claro que y podemos ver con estas dos experiencias cómo el cambio climático que ha sido provocado por los humanos repercute en la naturaleza, ¿no? En agravar especies que se vuelven una amenaza, en que se destruyen hábitats naturales, ¿no? Y que ahora estos elefantes han perdido su espacio natural y ahora tienen que luchar contra los humanos también por un espacio y por la comida, resultado también de esto que ya decíamos, el cambio climático. Creo que es momento de hacer un llamado a la comunidad global, porque no solo esto interesa no solo a quienes viven ahí, nos interesa a todos, o sea, porque es de gran preocupación. Y creo que justo estas experiencias es para que hagamos ese llamado colectivo, porque todos tenemos que abonar para empezar a regenerar la tierra, ¿no? O sea, el cambio climático es la amenaza latente para la humanidad, no solo para las especies nativas de la tierra, también nosotros, ¿no? Entonces creo que si no hacemos algo, si no los escuchamos, si no luchamos con ellos por salvar la tierra, o sea, nos seguimos condenando también como humanos, ¿no?
Speaking from the regeneration standpoint, she says climate change it's a menace that is always there, and we created it as humans. It's our own doing, and then we see the reflection of it in past. Destroying a forest that has been there for hundreds of years, thousands of years, or basically destroying the habitat, the natural habitats of the elephants, and now the elephants and humans are competing for the land and for food. So it is the moment to give people like you a voice, not give you the voice, to raise your voice and to give you the platforms so everybody and all of us can hear you and join. Because if we don't do it, if we don't join, if we don't help you defend your causes, then we are damning and condemn. It's a damage for ourselves, no matter where we live.
What is, for example, for you, Druhba, in India, the awareness around your work and the situation that you described?
Sorry, pardon me.
What is the national awareness in India on the human-elephant conflict-related deforestation issues, and how you are trying to work on restoring habitat. Like that conversation in India, are you finding it? Is it happening? Or do you need more awareness around it? Obviously, we always need more awareness around these issues. But how lonely are you in your fight, or how much support are you finding nationally?
Yeah, especially this conservation of elephants, especially protecting their habitats and awareness regarding the problem is comparatively, I would say low, because it is limited to some people, especially the educated, and it is the importance of elephants. Still, some of the people, I mean, living in the rural areas, they find it very difficult to understand why it is important to keep such an animal which is so harmful for so many people, so which can damage so many things at within 1 hour or within a short span of time. So in that way, I would say the level of awareness is very low, and organizations and people like us are trying to raise the level of awareness, always trying to raise the level of awareness. But I would say raising awareness is important, as well as also it is important to you know provide some support for the farmers, especially to enhance their livelihood, to cope with the situation, as well as to understand the situation. I mean, this importance of conserving such uh, animals. So that's what I feel.
Of course. Maybe Ismael can talk about what he's been experiencing lately. It sounds very life-threatening.
Quizás puedas compartir con nosotros lo que has estado viviendo últimamente que amenazan no solo tu vida, sino la de otros.
Sí, bueno, pues como todos los movimientos sociales, pues no es una persona, ¿no? Sino somos varias personas. Lo que nosotros estamos haciendo para salvaguardar a la montaña y nuestra vida, pues es precisamente esto, ¿no? Estas llamadas de auxilio, que todo el mundo conozca lo que está pasando en nuestra comunidad, porque hay comunidades que pues somos millones y millones, ¿no? Entonces pensamos que no existimos. Es una parte.
As every social movement is not just one person, they are several, it's a community, it's more than one community. And what they're doing is are all these calls to get attention, to tell the world that they exist.
Entonces, primero es hacer visible el movimiento, y como dice Druhba también, estas acciones de sensibilización hacia los nuestros, porque también en las comunidades tenemos, no todos pensamos igual. Entonces es de generar, fortalecer nuestra identidad propia a través de campañas de cuidado del medio ambiente, de pláticas, de acciones ambientales.
Part of it is also create awareness, not only to the external people, but also within the same community and the same, I would say, indigenous people. So they are in touch and reconnecting with their own culture, and so they're doing talks and workshops. So they're in touch with their own culture.
Sí, también desde nuestra cultura, o desde nosotros como jóvenes, al estar tan conectados con el mundo, nos desconectamos de lo nuestro. Entonces, nosotros buscamos también fortalecer, platicar con nuestros amigos, a través de los abuelos, la importancia que tienen los abuelos de transmitir eso.
So young people trying to be so connected to the world, they're disconnecting from their own selves and their own community. So what they're doing is trying to get that reconnection and those talks through their elders and their knowledge.
Entonces, a través de valorar el conocimiento de nuestros ancestros, pues vamos generando estos movimientos. En la parte legal, pues también que nosotros conozcamos como indígenas los derechos que tenemos, no solo nacionales, sino internacionales, que la gente, que nuestra gente sepa que estamos protegidos por hermanos del mundo, pero por leyes internacionales. Eso es, creemos que es muy importante que nosotros como pueblos lo sepamos para podernos defender.
They're also trying to educate themselves in legal matters so they know the laws that protect them in an international level.
Y nosotros nos sentimos amenazados, como ustedes saben, en México, como en otros países, desapariciones o lo que nos está pasando de crearnos delitos. Entonces nosotros sí sentimos nuestra vida en peligro de nuestras familias. Entonces al visibilizar esto es como una especie de escudo también de que digan si desaparece alguien de nuestros compañeros, ¿y dónde está? Y preguntar quién es y quiénes somos y por qué no estamos, ¿no? Porque como nuestros compañeros Saúl y Raimundo, queremos que todos los conozcan porque ellos están en la cárcel y el mundo no sabe quiénes son y son inocentes.
So they also want to. They feel a threat. They feel a constant threat, and as it happens in Mexico and in other countries, sadly there's missing people, and as it happened to Saul and Raimundo, which are the two leaders of the community that are in jail right now. There's fabricating. The government can fabricate.
A narrative.
Yes, a narrative and a crime that didn't commit, just to threaten the community. So they want this to be a platform where people know that they exist, and if one of them goes missing, the world knows.
Nos sentimos en peligro, pero no quiere decir que tengamos miedo. Nosotros somos fuertes, estamos unidos y como todos ustedes somos defensores del territorio y nosotros vamos a luchar por nuestra tierra y agradecemos estos espacios porque te das cuenta que no estás solo, sino que en el mundo, desde un insecto que nosotros provocamos que se volviera plaga, hasta, yo me sorprendo hasta cuidar 200 elefantes y también cuidar a tu comunidad es asombroso y todos estamos en lo mismo, ¿no? En el mismo barco.
He said that they feel the threat, they feel the danger, but they're not afraid. So they're more united than ever, and they will keep progressing with the defense of their territory. So he's thankful for being here in this conversation, and it just shows that they're not alone. And he's amazed how his fight, his struggle, his community also correlates with the defense, your own battle, defending your community and also the elephants and their territory.
How is I wanted to ask Druhba in terms of the dynamics with politics and government around these issues that you've been working on. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yes. I would the fact is that the legal status, protection status of elephant is quite high in our area. And elephant is one of the, it is a protected species in this landscape. So India, that elephant enjoys all the protections from the government. But here, the thing is a little different. 3 years ago, I lost one of my close friends, and he was killed by one of the wild elephants. So nobody could do anything about that. So yes, it is very conflicting. It is very sometimes it is very depressing and frustrating. Government is taking good steps, and it is trying to protect the remaining habitat, and it is creating. That step is also causing a lot of problem for people who live near the forest, and people are now losing their land. Sometimes forest departments and government departments, because it was a part of a national park, not national park, it's a part of a reserve forest declared by, marked during the British era. Now people are settling there. Now they want to expand the habitat and want to preserve some animals there. Sometimes people are getting suffered, and people here are losing their jobs, losing their lands, and losing their identity because of some of the interventions, which are good for, in a way, which is good for the environment. But some people are paying the price,
Yeah.
and the policy, I mean, that government is sometimes the policy is, if we for me, it's like very now it is very supportive for conservation,
Yeah.
but the ground situation is not very that,
It's so it's sounding like there are government efforts to protect the elephant. I'm sure that environmentalists want to protect the elephant, but do you think there's a lack of coordination of strategy that also addresses the humanity, the people, the farmers, in terms of how do you marry those two imperatives, which are human and elephant?
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that government, I mean, the government institution as well as some agencies, especially big conservation agencies, are putting a lot of effort, and they are spending money for the conservation. And some of the organizations are now also thinking and talking about this, uh, you know, uh, also consider the people who lives with
Yeah.
these animals. So now it is changing. The situation is changing slowly, and we are also doing. I mean, I'm also trying to do the same thing here. Like, we are trying to. I mean, for last from since 2012, I'm working to enhance the life. I mean, to provide some alternate livelihood for the people who has to live with the animal, or who has to live in in places where which is a forest. So they don't have government facilities, they don't have any other support mechanism to sustain their life, and we are working in those areas to create awareness for conservation as well as to support them to survive. So that's what we are trying, so that it can be balanced in now uh, in our area. So last for since January 2019, we lost uh, uh, 17 people in an area which is about less than 1,000 square kilometers. So that is the situation. People are dying here, and the elephants are also. During that period, 3 elephants died in this area. So both uh,
Yeah.
are suffering.
Yeah. Dali, do you have any questions? Preguntas.
Sí.
Para
Para los dos, no, mi pregunta es para ambos, es ustedes, ¿qué es lo que le pedirían al mundo que los está escuchando ahora? ¿Qué es lo que, cuál es el mensaje que les quieren mandar? Y la segunda, ¿qué es lo que ustedes necesitan del mundo? A lo mejor se sienten ajenos a sus luchas porque no las conocen, pero tal vez desde ustedes que les puedan decir qué es lo que necesitan de ellos para que se unan a su lucha y hagan más visible el problema por el que ustedes están atravesando y que al final realmente repercute a todos, ¿no? Entonces nada más esto.
For the both of you, is the message, it's a question of what do you need from the world, because probably people feel external, too far, because too remote, because they don't know what you're going through, for both of you. And what would you ask them? What would you ask the world?
What's your message, and what would you ask the world?
I would that message. I don't have any message, but I would like to uh, invite everyone to at least try to understand what is going on here, and in that way it would be great. if people show more interest on this particular issue or any issue related to conservation or habitat restoration or livelihood or the food security of the people, then it would be great.
Ok. Bueno, el mensaje como tal, primero pues al mundo sabemos que más nos gustaría que nos visiten y, y que hagamos acciones en conjunto, pero pues que nos cuestionemos cuáles de nuestras acciones afectan a nuestros territorios, ¿no? Desde una ciudad, por ejemplo, aquí yo veo que usan mucho el aire acondicionado en todos lados, ¿cómo afecta eso a mi montaña en México? Entonces, ¿cuáles de nuestras acciones están afectando a nuestras montañas, a que la temperatura siga subiendo? Que son preguntas que a lo mejor parecieran muy básicas, pero que no nos las hacemos. Eso, ¿qué le pedimos eso al mundo? Y ahorita otra cosa.
First, well, he thinks it would be great for people to also visit those places and join the actions and be there and experience. And second, to ask ourselves how our actions, no matter where we are affecting the territory. Even if they're not affecting directly the territory where we are in, he's saying that he has seen so many air conditioners on, and he asked himself, how is this affecting my own mountain?
Y ¿qué pediríamos específicamente? Pues que nos ayuden a compartir nuestras luchas, ¿no? A veces compartir este tipo de esta resistencia audiovisual, no sé cómo decirlo, a nosotros nos ayuda muchísimo para que pues la gente sepa que estamos haciendo en nuestros territorios indígenas, que sepamos que nuestra gente indígena estamos ahí, que estamos luchando, que la gente sepa eso, que sí, si bien son las organizaciones que nos apoyan, pero yo ahorita tendría que estar en mi comunidad trabajando en el campo, pero están allá, la gente está allá, nuestra gente está trabajando, está luchando y nos toca a algunos venir a estos espacios de oportunidad. Entonces, a veces compartir esta filosofía de estas organizaciones, yo decía desde la comida, yo pensaba que Slow Food no tenía que ver nada con mi lucha del medio ambiente, pero si no hay territorios, pues no hay comida ni sana, ni limpia, ni justa.
Also, for everybody to share what they're doing, what you're doing, because he is supposed to be with his community, working the land, but he's here in Terra Madre, and he thought that slow food had nothing to do with that struggle, but then it became a reality that with no territory, there's no food, and there's no food clean and fair.
Yeah.
Right.
No escuché su mensaje de lo que él dijo.
Más awareness, más visibilidad sobre la situación.
Okay.
Sí. Druhba. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
No,
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's true that I think slow food is a metaphor to a lot of the problems, but also the great solutions, and how they're integral, and how they, I think Dali gave the best presentation of this panel in terms of the crossroads of the environmental dynamics that are at play in different places of the world and that are affecting these communities. And I think this is what slow food is also about. And I think the issue of food security is maybe the biggest global issue in the world today, and it's been for a long time. And to hear from people and the diversity of story to enter the conversation about food security is also an opportunity, thanks to you, for people to understand, because maybe they have more heart for an elephant than for a strawberry. And through the story of Druhba and the elephants in Assam, they might become more aware of the dynamics and what it connects to in terms of food security, community, family, education, and so forth.
También fue la conversación de la seguridad alimentaria, como aquí uno de nuestros mayores problemas. Entonces, también tratar de entender, concienciar a la gente en torno a que pues, la gente puede tener un corazón para uno, falta que se refleja y todo lo que nos afecta.
And that the access to good, clean, fair food is not just good farming. It's caretaking of our environment, it's caretaking of our elders, it's caretaking of our communities. It's so much more than just good farming. And hopefully one day we can all taste the food from your places. I've tasted food from Assam and it's delicious. Thank you for joining. Gracias,
Gracias a
Ismael.
ustedes.
Muchas gracias
Gracias.
para compartir su historia y su knowledge. Conocimiento. Druhba, thanks for making the time from where you are right now, and hopefully one day you come meet the slow food community here at Terra Madre.
Definitely.
Wonderful.
I would, yes.
Yo quisiera cerrar
Sí.
también con la gente que nos está observando, que está viendo este programa, escuchando estas historias de lucha, o sea, no son las únicas, hay muchas historias de defensores de la tierra en todo el mundo, que tristemente muchos de estos defensores son asesinados y que, como decía Ismael, sus nombres quedan en el olvido. Creo que este espacio también tenemos que aprovecharlo para reivindicar la lucha de los defensores que ya no están aquí y que quienes nos están mirando no se queden solo como espectadores. Es importante que también sean parte de esta lucha, o sea, que dejemos de estar en la comodidad para empezar a cuestionar y para también empezar a cambiar estos modelos políticos y económicos que sabemos que también son los grandes culpables de las situaciones graves del planeta. Así que es momento de ponerle acción y creemos desde Slow Food, que es por eso en este Terra Madre estamos hablando de la regeneración, o sea, la regeneración tiene que ser ahora y la tenemos que hacer todas y todos.
As a closure from Dali, it's important to understand and to know that your two stories are not the only ones, and there's more people out there that sadly been struggling with land grabbing and while protecting their territory, they have lost their life, and we don't want their name. We want to use this space to give them the acknowledgement they deserve, while they lost their life and their names are not forgotten. So it's her calling from Terra Madre, which is regeneration, is to stop feeling comfortable at home and be part of the action.
Okay. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Y gracias a Ismael, a Druhba, por defender a la Madre Tierra.
Thank you for defending Mother Earth, Druhba.
Thank you, everyone, especially Dale and Martin, and I'm still yeah. So, how is there any way to know? I mean, share stories between Dale and you, so that I can also know more about your place. So it would be great. So this platform would be.
We'll make sure everybody's in touch, and this panel will be available on the website for audiences. We're going to create links to some of your media, including the podcasts, articles, and I'll make sure that everybody connects around more opportunities to connect with the depth of your respective stories and fights. Okay. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, hermano.
Los Okamati.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ciao, Druhba. Bye-bye.